great Kalu, right? Yeah, welcome to Spaces with Carlo on a Saturday, about 8:11 West African time. The month of April is Financial Literacy Month. So this morning we're talking just money, the very, very basics of financial planning to do with the very, the income, the expenses, the assets, the liabilities, the debt, and how all that are basically connected. That's what we're talking about today, right? So if you're just joining, we had to restart the room. We had a bit of a technical issue, but we're good to go right now. We got our co-host of Energy right there. I've got speakers lined up, so I do apologize. And we're just going to get to it, right? So I was just making the point that money may sound very, very complicated, but it's really rather simple. And it revolves around these four elements of income, earnings, and of course, borrowing and investing. And if you look at it, every one of us, we all earn, right? There are two types of earnings. There's going to be your active income and there's going to be your passive income. So your active income is essentially what you make when you are physically there at work. So you have your active income, your salary and all that. Your passive income has more to do with what you are earning, right? Like your dividends, your rental payment that come from a property that you own. So your target when you are working in life, right, is to try to move money from that active side to the passive side. So when you get a salary, you have to spend, I get that, but you have to save and then invest to build up your passive portfolio. And the more you build up that passive portfolio, the more you'll get yourself ready for the big day, which is called retirement. Same thing on your expenses side, right? You've got your active, your non-discretionary expenses, and of course your discretionary expenses. So those two things in expenses as well. Discretionary means you have your discretion to spend it any way you like, right? You can go on a holiday, you can buy a new Arsenal jersey and all that. It's really, really up to you. But your non-discretionary is the one we want to focus on. Those are the expenses that you must make. Even if you don't have money, guys, you're going to eat. You have to eat one way or the other. You have got to pay your rent, probably buy gas in your car and all that. So the whole idea is to move your money from active to passive and then make your passive pay your expenses. The day you are able to pay your expenses from your passive income, that's when you're rich, guys. That's when you can retire. So it's not about income. It's about moving your income, your active income, to a passive side of the portfolio and then making that passive side pay your expenses. That's your plan, as simple as that. And to get that plan, of course, you can borrow. So we then talk about credit. You have to borrow when you are younger, use that borrowing to buy assets that then give you passive income. You see the connection, guys? You borrow when you are younger to buy assets because your income when you are younger is always going to be lower than when you get older. So you buy assets, and then those assets that you get older then become your passive income generator. That's how it's all tied in. So your assets and your liabilities give you that net worth. You want to ensure that as you get older, your net worth is positive. If you are younger, technically, if you have a negative net worth, nothing wrong with that because you are borrowing, you are doing a lot of spending to grow that nest egg. It's as you get older, that spending then becomes very, very, very important, that it's giving you passive income. So guys, that's just my setting, just set the stage on a very, very simple concept in financial planning, using your assets, your liabilities to grow your net worth and to ensure that when you get older, you are eating, in quotes, from that passive side and not your active side. So folks, anyone wants to jump on? Gabriel, thanks for being here. If you guys don't know Gabriel is the co-author of 45 Common Money Mistakes. Great book. I always recommend that book to everyone. It's written very simple and you can read it and you can see sort of like it's teaching you what to do on the basis of mistakes you should not make. Gabriel, do you want to hop on in and just have a word and then we can just turn the floor open to everyone. Hi, Obenuju too. How are you doing today? Hi, Mr. Ayodeji Ebo. Thank you so much for being a guest and for being a supporter of the show. We appreciate you. Gabriel, go for it. What's up?
Everyone, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, just to time it, I think you've given the most basic definitions of what to do as financial planning.
Yeah.
What I just want to talk about is asset and liability.
Go for it.
So most times people confuse what an asset is and what an liability is. It looks very simple, but if you're not careful, you're going to mix it up. I'll give you the very basic definition of it. An asset is something that you very passive income, and really your focus is to look at how you can generate as much passive income as possible.
Okay.
So that we don't have to be actively working.
Gotcha.
Your dividends, your house rent, the things that, whatever is being paid to you, insurance, those are your passive income. So, back to, and liabilities are things that people need money from you.
I like that. So assets keep your money, liabilities take money away from you. Simple.
Yeah.
Very easy. Yeah.
So to just time on this, I remember once my dad is a photographer, retired now from the civil service. So I saw in the Ovation magazine, think about Ovation in 2002 or thereabout. So I was wondering, what is he doing with this? He's not that kind of guy. And I said, why are you buying Ovation? My dad is a straightforward person, no force, no nothing. So he said, that he wanted to see the latest techniques in photography, and he started telling me, this picture can only be taken with this kind of camera, by this kind of setting, putting this, and all of a sudden, an Ovation magazine, to me, is a liability, is an asset to him.
That's interesting. That's interesting, yeah.
So it's the same thing with the phone. You see a guy with a Pixel phone, and you're like, why are you using a Pixel phone? You don't earn this much. And the guy says, hey, because I do X, Y, Z, I do this on Instagram, I need this quality of pictures to be able to do this. By the way, see what this phone is. But to one other person, the Pixel is just a liability. It's not bringing anything. It's just one thing you show to people that, hey, that don't become. So that's just one of those confusing things that people have to take in mind, that not everything that looks like a liability is a liability. You should always know why you have what you're having. And if you can make those distinctions, it really helps your financial life. It makes you understand that you're not running with the Joneses, but I'm having this. If you're able to convince yourself why you have something that you have to spend so much on, then that is good enough for you. So back to you, Carlo.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. I like how you define that, Gabriel, in terms of assets give you money, liabilities take away money for you. Very, very simple definition, right? You don't have to be an accountant to get that. And also the fact that what's an asset to you is based on the usage, right? If I have a car, is that car an asset or a liability to me? I define it this way: if I am spending money on my car at the mechanic every weekend, then that car is a liability. It doesn't matter what the accountants say, that car is a liability. But if I am earning money, if I'm an Uber driver or it's taking me to work and I'm reducing my expenses, then that car is an asset to me. That's essentially what it is. El Papi, what's up, sir? Come off mute, let's talk. How you doing this month? Can you hear me, El Papi?
Yes, I'm doing great. I was going to talk about your audio. It's kind of faulty or something. Can't really hear you very well.
Oh, I do apologize. Yeah, I'm just basically we had a technical problem in the past. I'm literally sitting right in front of the audio now. So is it better now?
Yeah, it's still breaking kind of. Can any other person confirm?
Gabriel, how's my audio? But did you have a question, El Papi? I'm so sorry about the audio. I will try.
Hello, Carlo.
Hi, Obi. What's up? How's my audio?
You adjust your setting on maybe on your device, because I think I'm also struggling. I actually thought it was my device, and I was struggling to get another device to get connected on.
Okay. I will make it. I'll try to change that. I'll try to change that out, guys. I'm so sorry about that. Yeah, but El Papi, did you have a question? I'll try to. I want to limit what I say. So El Papi, you heard a question? Go for it.
No, I actually don't have a question. I'm just going to point out the audio issue.
All right. I do appreciate it. I mean, if it gets worse, send me a DM. I'm just literally like trying my best. So if it gets worse, send me a DM. Send me a DM as well. I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. All right, Domi. You're very welcome. I appreciate that call out, sir. Thank you so much. Domi, what's the name here? Dominic Annie. How you doing, sir? You want to come off mute and speak?
Yeah, I'm fine. I hope everybody can. Yeah.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I actually don't have a lot to say concerning it. I'm just going to learn a lot today from. Are we there?
Yes, I can hear you. You don't have a lot to say, but just want to come and learn a lot. Yeah.
I'll learn more on the passive and the active income. I'm actually more interested in the new ways I could hear about how I put my money and it's going to give birth and increase my income at the end. So I'm a student entirely today.
I hear you. I think how old are you? If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
Okay, I'm 31.
You're in the right age for investing. You know, the younger you are, the better advantage you have in terms of investing. So if you're a younger person, you have a huge advantage because you have the advantage of time. I want to make sure you take advantage of time. And if you are younger, there are two basic goals that you can have. You can have a capital appreciation goal, which means you want to grow your principal, right? Or you can have what's called a capital preservation goal, which means you want to preserve your capital and just earn income on it. If you are younger, your goal is more of capital appreciation, which means the assets you buy are going to be very, very different from the asset that an older person would buy, right? So it's always recommended that you are going into quote unquote variable income assets. We're talking about shares, we're talking about investing in, say, property, REITs, things that the principal itself can grow. And the biggest and the most common and the easiest way to do this is just to invest in equity. So you're investing in the growth of a company. You want to be a part of the earning story of a company. That's the best way to do it. If you don't know what to buy, then buy a unit trust or a mutual fund. Buy in Nigeria, buy abroad. I always recommend, I'm always never shy to recommend the VTI. And the VTI is just a mutual trust from Vanguard, and you invest in about 4,000 US listed companies like Tesla, like Apple, like Berkshire Hathaway. So once you are buying the VTI, you are exposed to the US market. Why the US market? Because it's the fastest growing and most liquid market in the world, right? Over a 10-year period, the US markets have returned the highest. That's where you want to invest. Same thing in Nigeria. You can buy the MSCIX Nigerian index, also invest in Nigerian stocks. So that's what I would advise, Dominic. Try to look at equities if you're younger and build out that portfolio.
Okay, so this one you just listed, both the US stock.
Yeah, the VTI.
Variable.
Correct. Those are equity based. So that means the target there is capital appreciation and they are variable income. So as the company is growing, more or less, you are also growing with it, right? So the
principal does not decline.
The principal can decline. It's variable income, so it has more risk. But the principal can go up and down. But over a long period of time, I mean, we've done the numbers for like 5 and 10 years. Equities, especially US equities, are giving you about 9 to 10% return. They also give you dividends. And because it's in dollar terms, you're not worried too much about inflation. Forget about this year and last year. Yeah. So you want to ride a moving horse. That's what you want to do when you are younger. You want to ride a moving horse. So that's what, if you are 31 years old, I would say your focus should be on equities, and you should try to look at both Nigerian, US equities, even global equities. If you want US, that's VTI. If you want all the stocks in the world apart from US, that's VXUS. That's Victor, Xylophone, Unicorn, September, VXUS. That's for all stocks apart from the US. If you want the US, that's VTI, Victor, Tango, Indigo. All right, Dominic. Thank you so much.
I'll listen to the rest of it.
Sure, excellent. Hang out with us, yeah? All right, so I've got, let me just see if I can print an imprint. I've got, KS Nicholas. Hi, Nicholas. KS _ Nicholas. How you doing? Thanks for hanging out. What's on your mind, sir?
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Hey, how you doing?
Johannesburg.
Yeah, Bo.
Firstly, ask if we can mute, because there's a terrible echo that we're getting from every time there's a speaker on. There's a great echo. But thank you for the great topic. I think financial literacy is something that a lot of Black people sometimes tend to lack. So maybe let's also look at people that don't earn a stable income. We know that a lot of people don't earn a stable income. What are their options in terms of investments? But also, let's also look at the average lay person that probably also does not have extra income that they can be starting to be saving, because we know that a lot of people still live month to month. Yeah.
I think those are fantastic questions, right? Number one, what if you don't get income regularly, how can you invest? Also, for a lay person, I think it's the same question, but fantastic question from South Africa. How South Africa, sir? Yeah, both you guys, hope you guys are staying safe and all. So I always say this way: if you don't earn income on a regular basis, let's say maybe you work as a consultant or an actor, or you do project, you're an architect, your job comes one after the other. There are two ways you can do this, right? You can get all the income and then pay yourself a salary monthly. So you earn maybe once in a quarter, or you earn a scattergun. You can earn that money and try to pay yourself a salary. Or you can take, when you make that money in bulk, you make an investment also in bulk. So let's assume that you're an artist and you sell paintings. One month you can sell R1 million, the other month you sell 0, the other month you sell 10 Rand. That's very, very irregular. What you want to do is to say, okay, what is my percentage of every income I have to invest? So irrespective if it's 100 Rand or R1 million, how much am I going to take out of this to invest? If it's going to be 10%, then when you make that R1 million, you're taking out 100,000 instantly from that fund, and then you are posting it in an investment fund. You are growing that investment fund from every income source that you make, right? So that pot itself is growing, but your income is irregular. So your income is just on the side. But once you are able to then grow that pot, then you invest that pot in a set manner. You can do dollar cost averaging. You can then invest like any other person would invest, because the difference between you and someone else is that you don't earn income. Fine. So you create a special fund, you put 10% or 5% or 20%, whatever you want to put in that pot. Then you invest from that pot on a regular basis, because you've sort of quote unquote sterilized that income flow. It's irregular. So you create an account, make that account have funds, then invest from that account on a regular basis. And then you pay your dividends from where you invest back to that fund. So if you buy property with that fund, pay the rent back to the fund. If you buy shares, pay the dividends back to the fund. Don't pay the dividends to your bank account. Pay it to the fund. So you are converting your active irregular income to a regular investment account, and then you are able to then use that regular investment account more or less in a planned manner, because you could not even get income for 6 months and then get this huge windfall on the 7th month. That's essentially how you want to do it. And investment is all about what you know. So try to also read and keep abreast. And if you can't do that, always hire an investor. Very, very important. Thank you so much from South Africa for that question. Heritage, go for it, sir. What's on your mind? What do you want to talk about? Heritage?
Good day, Mr. Good day, Mr. Carlo, and everyone listening. It's been an insightful conversation. I just have more like addition and few questions, especially in regards to what the man from South Africa asked. He asked about the kind of investment it's going to make, especially for someone who doesn't like get a very regular stream of income. But then you suggested you should opt for stuff like dollar cost averaging and probably investing in assets as it keeps getting fun. But my question would be, what are the type of assets you feel folks who are willing to like invest should opt for? What are the kind of assets you feel they should invest in? I'm asking that question because I have a perception that most of the assets that people believe in that they should invest in presently, like bonds, like real estate and stuff like that, still have their rank connected to US dollars, which is actually an inflationary currency and stuff like that. So that's why I'm putting in that question, Mr. Kalu. I believe you'll be able to like do justice to it.
Yeah, and it's an excellent question, Heritage. If I understand the question correctly, you are asking what kind of investment should people do? And you also added a condition there. You said, what about inflation, right? Inflation in the US. So let me just answer the second one, and then that will dovetail into my answer. So inflation in the US right now is about 7.9%, and we think it's going to go as high as 8.5% next month or so. But let me say this, right? The inflation in the US today is basically quote unquote transitory, and even, should we say, let me use a better word, it's temporary, right? It's caused by the breakdown in the global supply chain. So when you see, say, a used car in America or even food in America, the price has gone up, not because, right, there is money supply increase, right? That is a factor, but also because we don't have chips, and then the cars are not being manufactured to meet demand. So there's a huge supply chain issue in America and all across the world. There's also the stimulus. They spent about $6 trillion in COVID stimulus in the last 2 years in America. That's a lot of cash in the system, right? But America is also what we call a productive economy. So as time goes on, most of that cash will be washed away into the economy. What I'm trying to say is this: the inflation we see today will go away. It will go away. It will dissipate to say 3%. I don't think it's going to go back to say 2%, but it will wash away. And really, the US dollar is your safety, because where else are you going to invest if you don't want to put funds in the US dollar? Whenever there's a crisis, the dollar yields go up. I'm going to let you speak, Heritage, don't worry. Dollar yield goes up because people run to the safety of the US treasuries. So you see that that's where safety is. So to answer your question, where should you invest? If you want to invest, I always recommend the US markets. I recommend that because of the data that is out there. Over a 10-year period, the asset class that has beaten in the world, all asset classes compared, say, property, commodities, holding cash, holding gold, crude oil, what asset class has done the best over a 10-year period? Is US equities. And I'm using the VTI as my benchmark. So US equities over the period of 10 years have done the best in terms of return. Who has done the second best? US real estate. That's VNQ. US real estate has come number 2. So US equities number 1, US real estate number 2. So if you want to invest and you're looking at the long term, that's where you want to take a peek at. Remember that past performance is not a guarantee of future performance. I get that, but remember, that's the prologue. That's where we're coming from. And essentially, that's what I would recommend for you. Build a portfolio, have a ton of it in US equities, and then do your diversification. Heritage, do you want to come back and do a recap? Go ahead, sir. I have you right here.
Thanks, Mr. Kalu. Yes, you mentioned a lot, but then I'm satisfied enough to in regards to your response to my question. But you mentioned something about US equity. I think I'm here for you. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, you mentioned something about US equity and the return on investment and the kind of assets we should opt for, but then you referenced the fact that over.
Heritage, you dropped off, and I wanted to get that point you're trying to make. You dropped off, so I can't hear you for now. Oh yeah, Heritage, if you can come back, I really want to hear the point you are trying to make about VNQ. So I can post it up on my tweet feed, right? I can give you the 10-year return in terms of asset classes, right? And you will see that the VTI has been the top performer really in terms of global returns over a 10-year period in US equities. And why? It's very, very simple to see why. It's only the US market that has got this, what we call FANG phenomenon, where you have this massive corporation that are incorporated. Look at Apple, look at Amazon, look at Microsoft, look at Netflix, look at Alphabet. They are only in America. So these are massive corporations. Apple is a 3 trillion, i.e. 3 trillion market cap company. It's in America. So the FANG stocks have given America an unfair, quote unquote, advantage in terms of equity returns. So if you invest in that market, if you bought the VTI, that's essentially what you're buying. You're buying into that market, the fastest growing, most liquid market in the entire world. And that's why it's growing. So if you put your money there, then essentially that's what you're doing, essentially. Hi, Heritage, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Did you? So please go ahead and speak here.
I was trying to say, in terms of the US equity and comparing assets and return on investment over the past last decade, assets around the assets are pegged to blockchain, especially the likes of Bitcoin, are actually giving more than enough yield compared to fiat pegged assets. That was what I was trying to reference when I mentioned the inflation around the United States dollars. And I'm actually very, very pleased with your answer when you said the inflation rate is about 7.9%. Now we witnessed it was about 1.2% in 2020, increased to about 4.2% in 2021 and 7.5% in 2022. And we actually moving towards another year and it keep increasing. But then this stuff keep increasing because there's like a uncensored supply of money that the government keeps printing money consistently, and when it keeps coming to the economy like that, it's actually going to in turn keep giving us inflation. But then assets over the past few years where we have a fixed supply, and we understand the concept of how it's going to affect the inflation system and all. So comparing those assets, you kind of put Bitcoin in place of that. That was what I was trying to
Yeah, and let's talk about not just Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and why we don't sort of like try to talk about them in terms of.
Mr. Kalu, Bitcoin is different from crypto and.
Yeah, let me just make the point, right? So all of them, whatever name you call them, they are all digital assets. They are all created on the blockchain. Whatever name we want to call them, they are all Bitcoin, Luna. They are all blockchain-enabled digital currencies and assets or token, whatever it is, right? So the point is this, right? Is that an asset class? First of all, what is Bitcoin? Is Bitcoin a currency? Is it a commodity? Is it a property? What is it? Even in the US, these three definitions tie for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a currency, right? So if we want to compare a currency, we have to compare Bitcoin to the US dollar, to the Swiss franc. We can't compare Bitcoin to, say, equity. If Bitcoin is an asset, we then have to compare Bitcoin to, say, gold and to other property, not to, say, shares. If Bitcoin itself is a commodity, then we're comparing to, say, grain and all that kind of stuff. So Bitcoin, what is it, first of all? Then you then compare it, right? The thing you have to keep in mind is this. Bitcoin is not moving, right? If you invest in Bitcoin, the correlation to stocks has been very, very positive, which means that when stocks are going down, Bitcoin is going down as well. It hasn't held up that digital, should we say, gold moniker that people say it is. Bitcoin has been going down all through 2022. 2021, it got to 65,000, then it dropped. Why? Because the economy and all that noise happened. But gold, real gold, has been going up as the economy and the inflation rate has been going up. So real gold has retained its gold, quote unquote, investment criteria, but Bitcoin has not. So you can make a lot of money from Bitcoin, but how do we measure Bitcoin to, say, stocks? It's not the same thing, right? And until it is regulated, right, we really will struggle to place it with any other asset class to then say, hey, we want to compare this to this. So Heritage, you can come back up and say something.
Okay. Thank you, God.
Yeah, what I just want to say is that Mr. Kalu, classifying Bitcoin as an asset, you're right. Classifying Bitcoin as a digital currency, you're right. Because Bitcoin offers features that give it opportunity to leverage around being an asset class, around being a digital.
No, but we have to ask ourselves, you see, Heritage, look at the point I'm making. It's not my classification. I'm saying the regulators have to classify it. But it will, Heritage, let's be clear. Heritage, Heritage, let's be clear. We operate in a regulated world. It will get regulated. It doesn't matter what you and I say. There is no way an asset like Bitcoin will hold trillions and will not be regulated. Right now, the US is regulating Bitcoin. The EU has just passed a law saying that you cannot have a cold wallet without putting your name against that cold wallet. It will be regulated.
It's impossible technically. It's impossible because Bitcoin repels regulation. It has its own regulation by the consensus mechanism. All the regulations, there are regulations from China, there are regulations from...
Sir, can I ask you a question? Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Hold up. Tell me how you can buy Bitcoin. Tell me how you can buy Bitcoin without giving your name. Show me how.
When you're talking about regulation, the best way you can buy Bitcoin without showing your name is you buying Bitcoin or through the P2P system with an...
Does the P2P system capture your name?
The P2P system doesn't capture your name, it captures your public address.
So hold up. So I hear you. Hold up, sir. So, sir, is there anywhere on the P2P that you have to enter your detail, like your name?
You don't have to enter your details.
So anybody, including a terrorist, can go to a P2P and open an account?
Definitely, even a plate system, we have the concept where...
No, sir, I want us to be clear. Heritage, I want us to be clear. Let's just answer the question. You cannot, you can say you can buy it on a separate network and transfer, but you have to enter your name somewhere. Let's agree to that point.
That's legacy system of payment. That's legacy system of payments. Legacy system are talking about knowing their customers and all. But then we are providing the trustless and decentralized mode of system dynamics.
You are saying buzzwords, sir. Heritage, somebody else wants to speak. Heritage, let's get somebody else to speak. Go ahead. So the next one.
Yes, Gabriel, yes. So I just wanted to chime in on this. Heritage, I completely understand the interest in Bitcoin, and everything looks wonderful. Carlo has said something which is very important. At some point, it will be regulated because nobody will just watch.
It can't be regulated. Sorry. I know.
Can you just allow me to speak? Everything in Carlo. Allow me to speak. You've been speaking. Okay. It's my opinion, by the way. Once upon a time, I don't know how old you are and how you've been following financial market. There was a Swiss model of banking. But 9/11 changed all that because we needed to know how money is moving around in the world. Now, yes, Bitcoin is great, but the problem that I'm a believer in Bitcoin. I don't invest in Bitcoin, but I believe in it. And it is for one reason. It's the way Gen Z has chosen to trade with the whole world.
Then you don't believe in it. If you believe in it,
It's just been, you're not nice.
Okay. Heritage, I'll mute you, sir. Just allow him to make his point.
So as I said, it's the way Gen Z has decided to, spend their money. The second one is the big five, Apple, everybody has bought into it. And there will be a system where the fans will be able to trade with it themselves. So at some point, it will become mainstream. But right now, there's a lot of people just trying to use those features for whatsoever meets their demand. I'm not going to go along with that experiment. So that's why I'm not investing. But at some point, even Warren Buffett never touched tech stocks. But one day, he woke up and realized that Apple had something that was unique and it met his investment criteria, and he bought as much Apple as he could, and that's one of the best performing portfolios he has as of now. So nobody's trying to run down Bitcoin. We're just saying that it's still experimental. It will get mainstream, and when it gets mainstream, it will be regulated. Yeah, thank you.
So,
Mr. Kalu, I'm just going to say this last statement in your space. I recognize the concept of what you're doing and enabling financial literacy and all, but I believe you also understand the concept of what I'm saying when it comes to the fiat currency, the decentralization in Bitcoin precisely, not just cryptocurrency. And what I mean by it can't be regulated is because it has its regulation itself. It has the concept of mechanism that is being controlled with, even with your regulations. There are regulations in the United Kingdom you can't use this, you should probably restrict a particular public address. But then Bitcoin has provided solutions around public addresses, anonymous public addresses.
We get all that, Heritage, we get all that. Heritage, hold on, we get all that. I understand what you're saying. I own Bitcoin. I transfer Bitcoin. It's anonymous. It is not unregulatory. It's simply it's the pseudonym. You can use a pseudonym, which is a number. That's all it does. There is Heritage. Listen, some folks stole 3 billion from an account, a wallet, a while back. You heard about the story, right? They sold 3 billion. Everyone knew where the 3 billion was. They just didn't know who owned it. But everyone could see where the 3 billion was. And the guys were taking the children to buy gift cards. The day they tried to move it, they were caught. Some guys hacked the US, Occidental, they hacked the pipeline. The FBI got them. All you can do is to mask. You cannot hide who you are. All this Bitcoin is anonymous. It's wrong. You can simply hide your name, just like a Swiss bank can say your name is Kalu, but you can use 222 as your account number. That's all you are doing. But your name, Kalu, exists somewhere. You cannot buy any financial product in the US or in the EU without first putting your name on another platform somewhere. All Bitcoin is giving you is a way to trade anonymously on the internet. There is no way you are going to be trading trillions without the sovereign government tracking you. It's not possible. And to keep on insisting it has its own protocol, it's built on the internet. It's on the internet. Where is the internet situated? Where is the internet? Is it in our backyard? Who owns the internet? All right, well, let Olumide come on in. Olumide, go for it, sir. Look, Gabriel, hold on. Gabriel, hold on. Gabriel, I'll mute you. Gabriel, I want Olumide to speak. Thank you, Olumide. Go for it.
Yeah, thank you, Lord. Yeah, Carl, yeah, spot on analysis from you. Deep respect for you, and I really appreciate what you are doing in this space. Heritage, I think you are missing the point here. You're talking about the fundamentals of Bitcoin. Nobody's disputing the anonymous decentralized picture. But let me make you laugh. If you remember the latest European Union rulings on crypto assets, they were even trying to sanction anonymous wallets. So, for example, all those non-custody wallets, for you to have relationship with the ecosystem around their entity, you must have some form of KYC. Now, what Carl is trying to make you understand is that, yes, we understand that the fact that the fundamental around the crypto markets is that anonymous transactions can be carried, and that's why coins like Monero and these things are also gaining traction. But the truth of the matter is that it's going to be regulated, and that's one thing crypto enthusiasts don't really realize. See, in the financial industry, regulation is what drives. And any asset that is not going to be regulated will definitely fall under. And if you understand the history of leaves, the history of barter and things like that, you understand where it's going. So despite your understanding about the fact that yes, it has a decentralized system, the thing is that for adoption to continue, it means regulation is come to play. And that was why a lot of these stakeholders were excited about the crypto, Joe Biden's crypto executive order, because it means that there was supposed to be more clarity. So I don't want you to stop dragging about it, because the objective of this discussion is much more about financial literacy, not just about Bitcoin. But the truth of the matter is that Bitcoin is just going to be more like a commodity, or because it is not even going to qualify more for payment and things like that, because the global central banks would not want to lose their power. So that's why we are seeing the likes of CBDC. So it's likely going to end up becoming an asset people use to preserve wealth or things like that. Thank you, Carl.
All right, Madu, I've got Madu. Madu, let me have you come on board, sir. How you doing, sir, Madu?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you for Olumide. You are spot on. I don't want us to flog the Bitcoin talk. I just wanted to ask one question. How do we, or from Nigeria now, with the way things are, how do you get into the market to trade the equities in US? If you want to invest, what is the right way? What is the easiest way? Now that all the windows to deal with foreign currency is not just smooth. How can we get into the market easily?
Yeah, Madu, great question, right? So I'm going to just post my website. There's a page there on my website. My website is mynamecaluaja.org, and the page has got resources. I put all the apps that you can use. So literally, there are many apps right now that you can use from Nigeria with Nigerian KYC documentation to invest in the US market. For instance, let me just do a quick plug and just full disclosure, I work with these guys, Passfolio, right? With Passfolio, you are able to use your Nigerian KYC to invest in the US. So you can open an account with them, and then you can then invest in shares in America using Naira, of course. There's also Chaka, there's Cowrywise, there's Trove, there's Rizinvest. There are lots of them, really. So I'm just going to put financial apps on the TL, and then you can just go in there and just pick whatever you'd like, open an account. Robinhood is, to me, I like it a lot, but if you don't have a US social security number, you can't open an account with Robinhood. Otherwise, I would recommend that guy for you as well. But on those other apps, you can just basically go in there with your Nigerian KYC, and you can essentially open an account. I'm just going to put a link there. Just go there and you can just see all those financial assets, or go to my webpage and all that, you can get them. Does that answer your question, sir?
Yeah, thank you. There was a time the CBN blocked them.
Look, what the CBN, so look at what, I think it was Reasinvest took them to court. And the judge says, and I'm quoting, that there was no, should we say, ruling that says that they cannot do what they are doing. You know, all those guys are doing. Let me just give you the background. There's a company in the US called Drive Wealth, right? And all Drive Wealth is doing is linking those Nigerian apps, right, to the US app, to the US market. So you go through those Nigerian apps and then you are able to invest. That's basically all that you are doing. You are still investing, quote unquote, with the US market via those Nigerian apps. And the judge basically says there is no ruling saying that those apps are bad or that you cannot invest in them. That the CBN has not shown it's a secular. So perhaps CBN can say banks should not do it, but CBN cannot stop you if you are an individual and you wanted to buy US stocks through those apps. CBN couldn't stop you from doing that. Yeah. So I think it's still valid. SEC is doing registration of this guy. I know Chaka and Cowrywise are registered with SEC, but Passfolio is a US company. They're not a Nigerian company. They just allow you to do Nigeria. They use your Nigerian documentation as KYC. So that they have that other advantage with them. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, right?
Mr. Kalu,
Heritage, what's up?
What of platforms like the Lightning Network that enables you to like make cross-border remittances instantly?
Those are remittances, right? So what Madu is talking about, how can he invest? Remittances is not investing. To invest in the US stock market, they require KYC. So you have to fill all that information, put who you are before you can buy US stocks. So that's what these Nigerian apps are doing, because they can do that KYC in Nigeria, know who you are, then you can then open an account to trade abroad. That's essentially what he's saying. So those is very different from remittances or P2P. It is just for you to invest. When I was investing in stocks, I could not buy US stocks from Nigeria because there was nowhere to get KYC. But now, like I always say, you can sit in Taraba State and buy Tesla. You can sit on your phone from Taraba with 5,000 naira, not even dollars, 5,000 naira, and you can invest in Tesla. So if you are younger, really, you have no excuse, more or less now, not to invest. That's just what he's saying. All right, I've got Krypton. Krypton, please come off mute and let us know what you're talking about, sir.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Kalu. Yeah, sorry, I have a question. We've been speaking about, hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so we've been speaking about investing in US stocks and what have you. But the kind of opportunity that is available for Nigerians that wants to invest is buying maybe dollar at the black market rate. So we all know that there is a lot of discrepancy in the CBN rate, the bank rate, and the black market kind of rate. So what's your advice for, because if I need to buy dollar at black market rate, then I'll be buying those stocks or what have you at a very expensive price. So what alternatives do we have when we want to purchase US stocks? Thank you.
My brother said it's an excellent question. What I hear you saying is that you are asking, I want to buy US stocks, but the dollar rate is expensive. So if I buy dollar rate expensive, I'm already at a loss. My answer to you is this: that's really your only way to invest in dollar. You can buy their naira, but if you want to get dollar, the banks are not allowed to do that. You understand? You cannot use CBN quote unquote dollars to then invest. Those banks get into trouble when they do that. So my look at how I look at it. If I told you that if I gave you a Mercedes-Benz car and I told you to pay me 1 million naira for that Mercedes-Benz car, you know that car is worth more than 1 million, right? So even if you had to go borrow, to invest in that Mercedes-Benz car at 1 million because you are buying this at such a big discount and you know that tomorrow you can sell that Mercedes-Benz car for 3 million. You would go buy that, you would go borrow to buy that car. Now, I'm not suggesting you go borrow, but I'm suggesting that because the market abroad is priced in US dollars, number one, which means you can get your dividends in US dollars, number two. Number three is diversifies where you are investing your money. So you are investing in Nigeria, but you've diversified your income, you've diversified your geography of investment. That's a big advantage for you that you should take, should hold and run with, and not worry too much about the cost of you getting it. If you hold $1, let's just say conservative, let's just say 600 naira. Let's just say $1 is, let's be careful, is 500 naira. If you hold that 500 naira in January, by December, it will no longer be 500 naira. It will be maybe 480 or 470. Even if you put it in your pocket, inflation will take it away. But what if you converted that same 500 naira to $1 and you invested in, say, a mutual fund, even if it's to earn US dollar return at less than even at 1%? What you've done is that you've protected that 500 naira from inflation. So even though you have not gained, you have not lost 15%, which is the inflation rate in Nigeria. So that's how I would look at it. What is the upside for me? Yes, there's a downside for me for buying at a high exchange rate. But then what's the upside? I'm holding dollar and I can invest in dollar. That's how I would look at it. It's a great question, but look at the upside to it and say, okay, I'm going to lose here, but I could potentially gain in future because I'm investing in a different currency. Does that make sense, sir?
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense.
Gabriel, you want to add something?
Basically, you've covered it. I think, as you already know, you can get the money from CBN. Most of those tracker, Trove, Bamboo, RiceVest, they can do the conversion for you. You're buying something precious; it's an asset, so that's how you should look at it. And finally, apart from just, most times I want to talk about two things. One is this thing about inflation and money in your hand. We get so obsessed with inflation, and because of that, we don't invest. The whole aim of investment is to give you passive income. Yes, that passive income may not be beating inflation, but that money is not in your hands, especially for those of us that are Nigerians and live within the country, especially if you're in church. Any money you have in your hands, somebody will come and tell you one story, some true, some not so true, but you will spend that money. It's better you put it in an investment that will give you something. And most investments are to meet needs. It might be towards your house rent, it might be towards your, you have the reason why you're doing what you're doing. So let's not get, inflation it's real, but don't, because of inflation, you don't invest. The second one is something Carly, you've been talking about, which I want to stress, which is start investing when you are young. I feel very privileged to have been part of the 2008-2009 market crash because I learned a lot of lessons. And why most people ran away from the market, especially the Nigerian stock market, I came out stronger. And one of the lessons I learned was that all these Warren Buffett I've been reading, now I understand it because I have an experience. And the second part was I was happy it happened when I was younger. Because right now, I now know why Warren Buffett would say the aim of this investment is not to lose money. Number two is I recall number one, which is protecting your capital is a big deal. So I'm just encouraging people to say, hey, start as small as you can. But in that starting, it's your learning curve. And within 5 years, you'll be amazed what you learn from the various markets that you'll be part of. Thank you.
Great points, Gabriel, right? Yeah, Gabriel, great points again, right? See, one thing I'm very, very proud of on social media, like I did a post some time ago, I think it was 2 years ago, and I told young people to go and invest, right? And some guys came and challenged me. We don't know where to invest. We don't know how to invest. So we got this Telegram group, and we just put young guys there, and we said, let's do invest for 10 years. So we call it Invest 2030. And we are only buying ETFs. We're not trading, we're not selling, we're not interested in doing anything else. We just buy and hold. Those guys have been there. Some of them are as young as they're in universities. One of them just put in maybe 5K there, and they bought VTI. That's all they bought. And I see the returns those guys are making. Not trading, just buying and holding, right? And it's introducing them to investing, not just investing in Nigeria, but diversification. Now they're asking more questions. Oh, can we do this? Can we invest this? Can we do our dividends this way? And it's those guys, when they get out of university, they already have a head start in that they were investing across borders. They understand asset allocation. They know what VTI is. So proud of those guys there. So if you are younger, your biggest advantage is that you can invest for longer term, so you can take more risk. So don't sleep on it. Basically go in and invest. Ranti, I see your hands up, sir. Come off mute, tell us what you want. And after Ranti, I have a nice DM from a gentleman that wants to understand where he can invest apart from not putting his money in the DOM account. I'll take that on. So Ranti, if you can hear me, you have the floor, sir.
Yes, I hope you guys can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, okay, great. So I just wanted to say that I agree with everything you're saying. But I think also, a great way to invest is also via CFDs and CFD platforms, right? So a CFD
is that contract for differences?
Correct.
That is so advanced, bro. So advanced.
It is advanced, but I think it's a fine line, obviously, between investing and trading when you use it.
Exactly. I'm just saying that, you are talking about trading, right? Do you think everyone here? So go ahead, sir.
No, so I think let me finish my train. What I'm saying is that obviously it's a fine line between trading and investing, right? But I'm saying that you can still use CFDs as an investment platform if you're looking only on the upside. So if you decide that you're looking at, let's say, I'm not sure, Netflix, YouTube, Alphabet, things like that, and you use it just for the upside, CFD platforms are great when it comes to also looking at it just from the upside and not going short.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Like, if for me, right, I could do it. And I think CFDs, like you said, is a way to generate excess returns, alpha, that sort of thing, right? So I like it. I'm just hoping that people understand what you're saying and understand that it's very, very risky. But if you can play that game, super cool. But I'm just hoping that people understand that what you're saying is high risk, high returns kind of play, yeah. But yeah, it's a valid comment. Yeah, I get it. Ratia, where are you from? Are you from Nigeria? Where are you from, sir?
So I'm based in South Africa.
Okay.
So I'm an active investor and trader.
Gotcha.
I also consult for the biggest or the fastest growing broker in South Africa. So that's why I want to just add that CFDs are also an option.
So let me just play devil's advocate. If I was a 30-year-old Nigerian guy, I had $1,000, what would you advise?
If you were a 30-year-old Nigerian and you got $1,000 to invest, what I would say is that before you even put a single dollar in the market, do a lot of research and educate yourself. So first of all, invest in your education, invest in knowing what you're doing, so that you're not going to take $1,000 and all of a sudden in the next 2 to 3 days it's gone, because it happens a lot. So what I would say first is invest in your education. After you invest in your education, a lot of these platforms offer demo accounts, so you don't have to invest your real money from day one. So start to play around with these demos, find a strategy which works for you, and find a strategy which works with your long-term goals in regards to generation alpha, and then put your $1,000 in. I know it's contrary to what people want to hear in regards to put $1,000 in and next month you'll have $1 million. But it doesn't always work like that. If you are in the game for the long term and to generate income in the long term, one of the first things you need to do is actually invest in your education.
I like that. I like the education side you came up with. First of all, understand what you're doing. When you get it, then start with a demo account. Understand the risks and all that. Start with a demo account and then take it from there. I like it. And so thanks, Ranti. I appreciate you making that comment. Chisom, I can't see your request to speak. I see your DM, but I can't see the request to speak. Someone is asking, can we have the full meaning of this? CFD means contract for differences. It's basically trading, like currency trading and all that, but that's what it's just trading, contract for differences. You can Google it and you can see all what it's all about. Let me take this question on the DM. I have this question by someone that sent me a very, very nice long DM. And it's essentially asking, like, he's 40 years old, he's Nigerian, and he has a lot of his money in DOM accounts, right, in Nigeria. He said he's scared that one day they will take the money from him in the DOM account, and then he's lost it, and we will give him Naira. So let me just answer it this way, right? If you are scared about your money, then you can't sleep at night. And if you can't sleep at night, there's no point in investing, right? So what I would advise is this. If you have dollars and you want to invest it, right, you can either maybe buy an asset that is based in dollars. So that way you have the asset, right? You can buy all these Eurobond funds. Eurobond funds you are paying in dollar for a Nigerian quote unquote created product that is listed on a foreign exchange. So if you buy the Euro bonds, you are essentially buying bonds issued by Nigeria, but that pay out in dollars. So if you're worried about DOM account, consider buying a Euro bond, right? Now, let me do a quick plug for FCMB, right? I've talked here a lot, and they've been coming here to talk about the USD Euro bond fund from FCMB. Remember, you can get into that fund with as low as 1,200 United States dollars. That's 1,200 USD. So you bought an asset, and that asset is paying you even higher than your DOM account. So if you have dollars and you want to invest, just hit them up. Talk to FCMB. I'm going to put their link up there. Send them a DM and say, hey, I've got dollars. I want to invest. What can we do? Tell them Kalu sent you and want a very, very good rate, right? And they will sort you out. So that way your money is out of the bank vaults, it's out of the cash, and it's invested. And because it's invested, you then have that asset class with you. The second thing you could do is simply to take your dollars and then just invest, like we said, in VTI or even US bonds, right, directly. Because US bonds now, the rates are going to keep on rising because the US Fed is going to increase interest rates as we go. So if you are buying any US dollar-based assets directly, then you're going to get a better yield than what you would have gotten from just leaving the money in a DOM account. So I hope I answered that question for you, sir. I'm just looking into your name. I really can't find that name again, but that's essentially what you asked, and I think I've answered that question for you. If you have money in a DOM account, why keep it in cash? Either you invest it, right, or you buy a US dollar bond fund. I've plugged in FCMB, or you just go and buy a US bond abroad. If you don't want to risk, just buy a US dollar bond. If you want a bit of higher return, you can buy a REIT, Real Estate Investment Trust, or REIT. Then that way you can essentially get exposure to dollar returns as well. So, Olumide, do you want to add anything? I see your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on the source because a lot of people keep asking that question that there are any capacities in Naira, how do they invest in their stocks, and how do they have that exposure. So pretty much, I try to tell people that they should take advantage of the fact that we're in a digital age. So first, you have to improve your earning capacity. So if you're a business person, for example, you need to understand that now that trade is open across the world. So you could use the crypto market, for example, to form of leverage. Or also, you could also acquire skills if you are intellectually inclined on area services that you can offer. Because see, the advantage is that most people these days, that's the route to start. So basically, just starting with you to really keep a compound investment rather than going through the black market. So that should be your last resource. Try improving your earning capacity, and there's no excuse. You can creatives these days are exporting jobs, intellectual are exporting jobs, culture exporting jobs. So you can always do those things. So I just wanted to highlight that part. Thank you.
Yeah, great point. I mean, this is the word for you guys. Just keep it simple. Diversify where you are earning from. Diversify the currency you are earning. diversify how you make money. All three, just don't hold one currency. Even if you hold dollar, buy some naira. If you're investing in Nigeria, buy in the US. So do a diversification across the board so that you are covered. If the US goes down, Nigeria saves you, right? Let me give you an idea. Nigeria in 2020, the best performing stock market in the entire world in 2020 was Nigeria. And it was because of Dangote Cement. So the Dangote Cement, Nigeria beat the entire world. So if you had invested in Nigeria, you would have come out good in 2020, right? You would have beaten the US markets as well. But this year, the US markets are down and Nigeria is also down. In 2021, the US market was up and Nigeria was not as high as the US, right? But over a 10-year period, the US market, the US equity markets, i.e. the VTI, the QQQ, those equity large cap stocks have been the best in the world, followed by US real estate. That's a 10-year and a 5-year return. Crude oil has been bad. It's been doing badly. It's just doing well now because of the issues we are seeing. So right now in the entire world, crude oil, I think I posted top 10 ETFs. It's all oil and gas and minerals and commodities that are doing pretty well because of Russia, because of Ukraine and what's going on. But over years, over 10 years, crude oil has been quote unquote crap, Gold has been quote unquote crap, but now they are doing well. So it's always a rotation. It's always a rotation. Things do well in inflation, things don't do well in an inflation, and then markets move up and down. But the US has always been good. So that's what I always say is now I'm not plugging the US, I'm just telling you the data so that you can then basically go out there and make an informed choice to invest, right? So I have tons of DMs. I'm going to read them. Ifeanyi, what's happening? Go for it.
Let me just scroll the data there.
Yeah, go for it.
So from 1900 till date, the US market has grown 9 to 10% every year.
Say that again, sir, and emphasize the starting date.
1900. And in 2008, when everything went down, I read an article. It was a one-pager from Warren Buffett. He said, "Buy America because I am." You can Google that article. And he said, "I will not bet against the American market, but I'm going to swim with it." Warren Buffett came out smelling very good by just buying bonds from Bank of America. I mean, we're not praising America. We're just talking about market forces and how they play. One other thing to just throw out there is, hey, there's a lot of democratization of information out there. When I was younger, to get into a VC was a big deal. But today, there are so many VCs in Nigeria that help you even buy into American stock. Let's get equity. There's all sorts of things. So this, if you're in your 20s, market education is a big deal for you. If you learn so much in 5 years, the head advantage you have over others, you'll be amazed. And it's not about bragging, right? It just makes your life easier, better, and you can navigate the market easier. Sorry, take it from the account.
I think that's a fantastic comment. We can't argue with numbers, right? We're not from the US, but we can't argue with numbers. I remember that article about Warren Buffett. It says, don't bet against the US. Very, very, he laid it out well. And that was when the markets were crashing. He was buying, And what's Warren Buffett buying recently? He's bought Occidental. So he's buying energy, oil and gas. So me too, I bought, I also went and bought that one. He bought HP. And I was like, why is Warren Buffett buying HP? Then I did an analysis. HP sales have been doubling because of COVID. So because of COVID, we all went at home. We're all buying home computers. All the kids in school are buying home computers. So everyone has a home office, homeschooling, home printers, and that's all HP, right? But look at what again about HP. HP's PE, HP's price to earnings ratio, is about 9.8, less than 10. Guess the industry average PE, 25. So you have a company that is selling, the sales are doubling, but the price, the market has refused to move the price up. So the market kept the price at a PE of about 9, that's 9 times earnings. But the industry's earnings to their price of about 25. That's a deal Warren Buffett will see any day. And then to cap it all off, HP has given about $15 billion back to stakeholders in terms of dividends and stock buybacks. I mean, you later, so sometimes you were like, why is Warren doing this? And then you see the numbers and be like, why didn't I see this? Why didn't I see this HP thing and go and buy ahead of Warren Buffett? That guy, Warren Buffett, say what you want about him, he knows how to pick stocks. Anything he buys, I buy. I don't care. So I'm buying HP, I'm buying Occidental, I already got Apple and the rest. We'll buy with him. Whatever he wants to do, we'll follow him. Well, he's my uncle. If you guys don't know, he's my uncle. Look, yeah, he's my uncle. Yeah, so just say. So shout out Uncle Warren. I'll see you at the Christmas get together, Uncle Warren. I call him Warren. I call him Uncle Warren. All right, fine. Go for it, sir.
Well, depending on your location, I mean Nigeria. When you talk about analysis, it's a good thing. These days, people need to work smart as against working hard. And like the last speaker said, there is democratization of information out there. But in the end, I think some of this information are still being correct. Maybe, let's say, most people are not taking their time to do proper research on their own. And that is why you see most people actually, some people will say that have the information. So people are sending information that is already out there. And just make a question of them, which is so sad sometimes. Because we like to Africa, here we are, this part of Africa or middle Nigeria. Everybody wants to express the organization. Nobody, people got information so much that acknowledging what it's all about. Nobody wants to be a expert because people believe in the need money. That's what they are helping. It's not.
If I you got a question?
Hello. We're talking about financial literacy. Because I was also reading the Hello.
No, if I'm right here. So I hear what you're saying about information, right? And I think right now.
So I think that is the major challenge we have here. Because you see when people come up to some mentors, how they mentor you? I don't get through sometimes because when I hear such things, I find that not made in society, we are individual, the level of information out to them.
If I am so sorry, your audio is very, very bad. I want to hear what you're saying. Maybe you. No, I'm not hearing you that clear. It's breaking up a bit. And I want you to get to the question. Yeah, I can hear you, but get to the question. Yes, but get to the question, sir.
It's not these days, financial literacy is something that needs to be taught in schools, most especially for the tertiary institution. But I find that most people after school, I think that's when the real world comes to reality. Before people come to understand the real world, takes time. So, like what we talk about financial literacy, like somebody was talking about forex or whatever, trading, CFD, all those stuff. But I will not at this stage, like my personal, to go into forex because the market is very volatile. There are still other things you could do to get knowledge on the side to increase your earning power. Like Mr. Kambi, you said something about buying a property in dollars to go against inflation. I totally agree with you on that. Because during the pandemic 2020, when the dollar started moving, the dollar moved at a free flow. I know someone had a property who was selling this 10 blocks, four bedroom duplex 10 blocks. Each was going for, I think, 80-100 million. And when you sell, when it changes in dollar, you find that the value of the money in dollar depreciates. So, invariably, you have lost money compared to dollar because let's say you sell like 100 million and you are changing the dollar, I don't really get the exact figure.
Yeah, I got you what you're saying. So, I mean, I want to let's take it home, right? Yeah.
So you find that most people lose money against the dollar when they change from naira to dollar.
That's why it's more advice for you because the economy is not certain. There's a lot of inflation. So I believe financial literacy is necessary at every stage, not just even if you are going to any business, it's necessary you get to know perfect details about it and losing your money, which is very necessary. Those are my little contributions on it. Mr. Gabriel, please, I come to inbox you later. There are some things I want to ask you.
All right, thank you so much, Ifeanyi, for that contribution. And let me just say what I took from Ifeanyi. I see people always ask this question: if I'm investing in Nigeria, should I benchmark to the dollar? So it's a yes or no. It's a yes or no answer, right? If you are in Nigeria and you have no dollar exposure, right, should you worry about the dollar exchange rate? Because people will say, well, I buy imported things, so I have to benchmark my price against dollar. Good argument. But if you're in Nigeria, you have no dollar exposure, blah, blah, and you earn a lot of liquidity in Naira, yes, you should diversify, but don't worry too much about, oh, if I convert to dollar, I'm losing money. You should keep that top of your mind and diversify. But don't worry too much that, listen, this is not beating inflation and all that. If you are in Naira compared to Naira, if you are in dollar compared to dollar. So don't try to mix both of them, right? If you build a house in Naira and you get your rent in Naira and you are paying your bills in Naira and you are buying from Dangote in Naira and you're renting out in Naira, fine and good. You can draw out a return on investment using Naira, right? And you do that. If you try to then compare and exchange that rate from Naira to dollars, you have to also remember that the guys in America are buying those homes on credit. So you have to bring in those other aspects into it. So yes, you should benchmark, but remember that if you are in an economy, you want to use the variables and the macroeconomics of that economy to get your ROI. That's why you see Nigerians do their annual reports in Naira. Even the banks do it in Naira. Then they'll come and say exchange gain and all that because they have to also show it, but you have to make sure that you do your ROI in Naira. So now, guys, it's time to go to the DMs and just clear a lot of questions. Sorry, guys, I abandoned you guys.
I think we have a unfinished business.
Yeah, let's talk about that later on. Yeah, let's talk about that later on. Yeah.
No problem.
Okay, so someone is asking, right? If the US does regulate cryptocurrencies, what happens to my cryptocurrencies? Is it going to mean that it's no longer worth? That's from Chisom. Chisom, no. I think that the regulation of crypto will actually make your investments actually go up in price. Look at it this way. If you have a very, very fast car, right? What makes you go faster? Is it when the car has brakes or when the car does not have brakes? If you notice, right, you can go faster on a car when the car has got brakes and the suspension is good. That's what the US regulation is going to do for Bitcoin. Once Bitcoin becomes regulated, it becomes quote unquote a real, or should we say an approved asset. So if you have Bitcoin and it's now regulated, that means you can go to the US banks and you can open an account, you can send Bitcoin to your mother, you can trade with Bitcoin. It's happening now, but when it gets regulated, it becomes more mainstream. That's the point, mainstream. The more mainstream it becomes, the more that people would buy it. And the more people buy it, the more the price keeps on going up because it's a limited supply asset, right? So Bitcoin is limited supply at about 21 million. So the price will keep on going up, right? Because more and more people are buying it. So regulation is good for Bitcoin. It's not bad, it's good for Bitcoin. Don't worry about that. You're also asking, Chisom, what other Nigerian stocks would I advise apart from Dangote Cement? So, okay, again, I don't advise publicly. So everything I'm going to say here is all educational, right? I'm not asking to go buy or sell. But what if I was buying Nigerian stocks? How would I approach that question? If I was going to buy Nigerian stocks, what would I do? I want to ask myself, what goods in Nigeria are people going to buy, irrespective of their earnings power, or if the economy is doing well, or the economy is doing bad, and does not need Forex to operate? So those are my three questions. Which company produces a product that number one, Nigerians must buy. They must buy it. Even if they have money, they don't have money, they must buy, number one. Number two, it does not need Forex to produce that product. So a few things come to my mind. What about cement? Dangote Cement. I mean, he imports some, but I mean, his factory is based in Nigeria. The raw materials are based in Nigeria. It's sold in Nigeria. That's Dangote Cement. What about Nestle? No, Maggi is made in Nigeria. You have to buy Maggi. There's Bonvita, there's Nestle, cereal, all that stuff. It's all also Nigerian, right? So that's also something that Nigerians will buy. You must buy Maggi now. If not, you won't cook your soup, but you have to buy Maggi or something like Maggi. What about palm oil? We use palm oil a lot in Nigeria, right? We can't even meet the demand for palm oil locally in Nigeria. What that is again tells me is that if I have a company making palm oil, right, that's going to be a big seller, right? You remember when we had the stockbroking guy here, he gave us these same stocks as well. What about banking? Nigerians need banks, right? We have to be the place where you're going to put your money in, go back and take your money out and all that, right? So those companies are listed now. Dangote Cement, palm oil, Presco, Okomo oil, right? Nestle. Nestle is very expensive, very, very expensive, but they do pay a good dividend. But remember, guys, that's a stock you buy if you want income. It's very expensive, overly expensive in my view. What about banks?
You forgot to talk about the like data.
Hello? Who was that? I'll let you speak.
This is Gabriel, right? Let's talk about the data and box.
Go ahead. Which one do you have in mind, Gabriel?
No, you're MTN.
Oh, that's my baby. I'm coming to that. I have to talk about the rest and land at MTN. I'm coming to my soft landing, right? So I mean, Zenith Bank. I was talking about banking. Banking, I like Zenith Bank a lot because they pay a lot of dividends. For Nigerian stocks, guys, if they don't pay dividends, don't buy. In America, you can say, well, it's a growth company, I'll buy it. But in Nigeria, if they don't pay dividends, don't buy. That's just my view. Because dividends are your insurance policy. So if the company does pay a dividend, then buy because you can get that dividend to compensate you. Then of course, MTN, everyone knows MTN to me is going to be the stock really going forward because MTN has now got the largest collection of a marketplace in Nigeria. So all you MTN users, you guys are all now in a marketplace. And MTN is going to essentially sell stuff to you guys. They're going to get the money transfer license and all that. So very, very good for you guys. So MTN is also not a good company. So Chisom, I'm giving you lots of names there. Sorry, I'm not giving you, I'm giving myself lots of names there. I talked about Dangote, MTN, Zenith, Presco, Nestle, and I betted that Nestle is an income stock. I think it's a very, very expensive stock. So just keep that in mind, right? Tochukwu is asking, how can we educate ourselves about what the South African guy spoke about, the contract for differences? Yeah, I mean, he's basically talking about trading, right? So if you want to start, YouTube is a very, very good resource for learning. Go to YouTube, type in contract for differences. There will be lots of videos there for free that you can watch and you can learn, right? So it's just trading. So you could just go in there and essentially just learn from YouTube, right? What platform can I use to invest in stocks from Nigeria? That's from Okera Nasir. So lots of stocks. Okera Nasir, if you look at my TL, I just posted financial apps. My website is kaluaja.org. If you go to the site, go to financial apps or look on the TL. I just posted a link with all the financial apps. We have Chaka, we have Cowrywise, we have Passfolio, we have Robinhood, Trove, Coinbase, Acorns, and all that. So we have all these stocks really there for you to trade. Choose anyone that you like. I personally prefer Passfolio because they allow you to do US stocks. If you're doing US stocks, Passfolio. If you're doing Nigerian stocks, Chaka, Cowrywise, Trove, Raise Invest, they are all very, very good. Just pick the one to invest, right? Gabriel, if you do see anyone trying to speak, you can go ahead and add them and they can also speak. Yeah, I'm just clearing out the DMs, guys. And this guy is asking, hi, Kalu. This is from Mayor Timmy. I want to buy stocks as I plan. He's in the US and needs guidance. what US stocks to invest in. US is easier because you guys have a lot of resources to guide you. Any app you get in the US, whether it's Fidelity or Vanguard or even Robinhood, you can tell the app what you want, and the app will essentially give you, should we say, suggestions. I always suggest you start from the top. So you buy the sector, then you work your way down to the stock. So if I wanted to invest in the US, where would I start from? I'll start from the very, very top. You can buy an ETF. What's an ETF? An ETF is called an exchange traded fund, which means it's like a mutual fund or a unit trust scheme, right? But you can trade it during the day. So it's a mutual fund, unit trust, right? So buy the ETF, the very, very top one. It's called VT. VT is all the shares in the entire world. VT, everything, but we're VT. Then from VT, you then go to VTI. VTI, you are now buying the stocks in the US alone, right? So you buy VT, you bought everything, then you do VTI, you are buying the stocks in the US alone, and we've said why you want to buy the US. Then you do VXUX, which means you are buying all the stocks minus the US. So you've got VT, then VTI, then VXUX. And you can buy these guys with just $10, $10, $10. And with just $30, you bought all the stocks in the entire world that are worth buying. End of story. It's after you have done those VTI, you can then start to say, okay, I want to buy a particular sector. Maybe I want to buy real estate, I want to buy property, I want to buy tech. You can then go into the specific tech. Okay, I want to buy Apple. But start from the top and then work your way down to the individual stock, right? I'm going to stop here. So let me get Tolu Berry. Tolu Berry, how are you doing, sir? Hop on in and let's know what you want to talk about. DM guys, I'm going to come back to you guys. I've forgotten you guys. Thanks for all those wonderful DMs. Tolu Berry, come off mute and say hi.
Hi, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can. Go for it.
So I'm just gonna add, you guys have been fantastic. Everything you guys have said is value adding. What I'm just gonna add to this is, is the part of risk management and investing in a layman's language is speculation, and that's very similar to what a lot of people do on their daily basis, which is like gambling, speculating about, the future. But the way you can mitigate, losses or reduce the odds of your investment is actually risk management. And the risk management part I mean is, when you're going for a trade, have a strategy, understand why you're going for the trade. Is it for the long haul or the short term? Because for many beginners, from my own experience, I found out that people actually invest the money they need. So you don't invest the money you need. You invest the money, that, okay, this is a spare cash, I'm not going to need this in a very long time. And when I need it, I'm going to use it for a project or something. So people sell very fast. When you're investing, make sure you take a little chunk of what you can afford to lose and what an excess, not the money you need or the money you're going to use for daily expenses in the short term. So that reduces the pressure for you to, make bad decisions. And another risk management part is understanding your strategy when you want to cut loss or when you want to profit, what you're looking out for in the investment. So that's my own bit. I will continue to listen to you guys, and if I have anything or anything I'm just going to add. Thank you.
I think that's a great submission. Great submission. Risk. We don't talk too much about the risk management part of investing. We talk about more of the returns, right? So Tolu Berry, thanks for calling me out on that. So how can you do risk management? Let me just see if I can give you guys a quick summary, right? When you want to invest, you have to have a plan. You just can't go to the market and say, hey, what's up in this market? I want to invest. What I would say, let me tell you how I think you should invest. Number one, you want to say how much is your total investable pot? Do you have 5,000, 10,000, 1 million? Is that what you want to invest? Fine. Then you want to do what's called a lot size. Your lot size is like how much are you going to invest every time you invest. So if let's say you have 1 million, you can say my lot size are going to be 100,000 or 50,000 or whatever it is, right? So you want to create your lot size. It means every time you do a trade, that's going to be your minimum. You're going to go into that trade with this lot size, right? Once you get your lot size, you then want to say to pick the individual stock you want to invest. Let's assume you have picked you want to invest in, say, Nestle or Apple. So you want to invest in Nestle. How many lots are you going to buy? You can buy 1 lot or 2 lots. When you invest or before you invest, you want to do your upper and your lower band. So you want to say how much will you invest or what price will it get to that you are going to sell? We're talking about trading now, not long-term investing, just trading. If you invest and you say, well, once it gets to 30%, I am out. You can go to the computer and set it up like that. That even if you're not there, middle of the night, 4 a.m., and that stock hits 30%, it will sell for you. The same thing at the bottom, you do what's called a stop loss, and you tell yourself, hey, once the stock falls 5% or 10%, sell it. So even if you're asleep and the stock starts to fall, once it gets to 5 or 10%, it will sell. The stock market, right, quote unquote, people say it's gambling, but it's not gambling because it's the only market you can actually go in and tell the market how much you think you want to lose. So if you only want to lose 5%, the market will give you that trade, which means you can say, if I invest my 10,000 naira lot size, I only want to lose 500 naira. You can do that. Once you buy the Nestle at 100 naira, for instance, you go ahead and you put the stop loss. You say, if this stock ever falls to 95 naira, just sell. Which means you have said, out of your 1 million, your loss ratio is going to be 5%. You already know that, it's already guaranteed because you cannot fall lower than your 5%. And you've said that out of this 1 million, you are going to make minimum 30%. You've set it up as your upper limit. You plug that all in, your lot sizes. Let's assume you have already identified where you want to invest. You plug that in as well, and then you trade. So what will happen if that particular stock goes up, you make your 20%, it sells for you, you bank it. Don't be greedy. Determine your plan before you invest, not whilst you are investing. Determine it before you invest, guys, right? And if the stock is coming down, the exact same thing. It would sell that stock for you before it crashes. So you have locked in your sell side going up, and of course your sell side coming down as well. That's essentially how you want to trade, guys. You want to sell, do the upper limit and do the lower limit, select your stock. Know what you want to do before you get in. You want to use technical analysis to verify your fundamental analysis as well. So guys, I said a lot there, but yeah, I don't know if Gabriel or Lumina wants to add something. Otherwise, I'm going to go back to the DMs. Gabriel.
Okay, let me just add something.
Yeah, go for it.
Thank you very much, Barry, for bringing this issue of risk up, because most times when we get into the flow, we look at the brighter side, not knowing that this thing has two sides. But one of the things, your best insurance against risk management strategy is education. And that's one of the things we're doing, educating each other. I'm hearing some things for the first time. Definitely, I'm going to set them out. And, there's a book called Learn to Earn by Peter Lynch. Please look for it. It talks about the US market. Information is dated, but it gives you an idea of stocks, investment, hedging, and those kind of things. It's called Learn to Earn by a guy called Peter Lynch. Peter Lynch was one of the best investment managers in his days. The second thing I also want to talk about is get mentors. When we say get mentors, most times people want mentors on Twitter. The mentors I want to talk to you about is the guys in your office. Some of your managers. There are people you just see there's something certain about this guy or this lady. Ask them questions. You'll be amazed what they are doing as per investment. Even if you're not in their league, but you have that information. That information, the day it will deliver for you, you'll be amazed. Or maybe you are somewhere, someone is talking about it, and you're like, oh, and you start talking about it just because you heard it somewhere. Someone will take you more seriously. And these things are, then look at the guy on your street. There might be that guy on your street that is the biggest Coca-Cola supplier. He is not literate. Find a time to sit down with the man and say, this is your business. Again, there's this thing Nigerians believe that people don't talk. In my own opinion, it's the reverse. People always talk to me. People always tell me things. This is how I do this is how I do this. I did this when this happened, and because of this is where I am. Again, most of those information, you may not be able to replicate them. But having that information, having the experience, and sometimes some of those guys, things come up and like, remember we talked about this thing. You know what? I know you can't be a part of this, but just for your learning process, I want you to come and sit down in this meeting. And you'll be hearing things that you're like, wow, so these things happen on that, my breath, and I don't know such things happen in this office. So those are the two things I would just want to add as per risk mitigation. Thank you.
I think that's powerful, especially the mentor part, right? And you say that mentors is just someone around you, the angel around you that seems to know a bit about investing. If you could talk to people around you, you guys, we all go watch soccer now. We have soccer groups where we all sit down and we watch soccer. We have wedding groups and all that. Get a guy to come talk to you about investing. My good friend Lua Tosi, she runs Money Africa, right? Get her in. You guys, if you're like 100, pay for her to come over and talk to you guys about investing. Grab her on a Saturday. Also, my good friend Shola, she runs Smart Women and all that. Get them, get people that know about money. Get yourself together. Pay them. Get them to come and spend an afternoon with you. You guys order lunch or even if it's meat pie. Just ask them questions for 1 or 2 hours. You will learn so much. You have got to get knowledge, right? And the more you know, then the more and the better of an investor you can. Guys, again, I don't see this DMs or I don't see this request to speak. I just see notification. So Gabriel, please, if you see guys that are asking to speak, please add them. I don't know why Twitter doesn't like me. I don't see them just saying that for you, right? And if you want to join the Telegram group, I will send that link after the Telegram group, after the meeting as well. So you can just basically jump in, right? So lots of DMs, oh my God. Yeah. So someone's asking a question here. How do you know which stocks Warren Buffett is buying? She wants to copy Warren Buffett. Just Google it, guys. Just Google it. Just Google what's Warren Buffett's portfolio. In America, you have got to disclose your holdings once you hit a certain percentage. So Warren Buffett can't hide. Sorry, Uncle Warren Buffett can't hide. As long as he's buying stuff, we're going to see it, right? Just go online and Google what is Warren Buffett buying. You see all what he owns. You see what he sold. If you want to copy him, sure. But remember, Warren Buffett is a long-term investor. He doesn't really sell. That's the secret, guys, to Warren Buffett's trading. He doesn't sell. What he does is that he buys, then he sort of like compounds those earnings. He takes his dividends and then he then buys more companies. So if you want to copy him, you also can't be that short-term trader guy, right? Great.
So let me also add, I don't know if you guys know of Google Alert. Google Alert is very simple. Just do Google Alert. Google Alert, what Google Alert does to you is that it gathers information on anything that you want. If you want to say venture capital, put it on your Google Alert. Anything that happens in that will come to you. So you can also put Google Alert Warren Buffett. Anything he does with Warren Buffett is gravitas. Anywhere he moves, the earth moves with him in that direction as the investment. So you will see what he's doing every day or whenever he does what he does. The other thing is to go to it. Just Google Berkshire Hathaway. Their annual report always comes out. I think it's February 28th. There's one there right now. Just go and read it. You may not understand everything there, but the first 5 pages gives a summary of what he did in the past year. Yeah, thank you.
I think that's a wonderful point there, right? You can just tag him. See, if you want to invest, like you say, follow Who Know Road. Don't overthink this thing, right? Look at Elon Musk, and I'll give you two examples of two guys investing. Warren Buffett bought HP. He looked at the fundamentals, then he bought HP. Elon Musk has bought Twitter. The fundamentals of Twitter are not that fantastic. Earnings are flat, they have a lot of controversy of their financials. I.e., there's a lot of should we say people say they cancel people, they don't let people say their views and all that. Like if you say a man is a woman, like someone does a sex change and you say the man is a woman, the Twitter will sort of lock your account, all that kind of stuff. It's not financial, right? But Elon has gone in there. The stock price for Twitter has gone up, right? But fundamentals is not there. So the question for you now is, do you think Elon's presence in Twitter will make Twitter earn more? Will he just be in there and make Twitter earn more? Look at what Elon Musk did for Dogecoin. Let someone tell me what Dogecoin is made for. Dogecoin is nothing. It doesn't have any use. But look at the price for Dogecoin. It's gone through the roof. So if you had bought Dogecoin, you have made a lot of money. And this is what Elon Musk does. When he goes somewhere, he attracts buyers, and those buyers pump the price. Will it happen to Twitter? I don't know. But you have to follow people that trade. If they buy, they sell. And okay, I like Warren Buffett style. Elon Musk is a billionaire. He doesn't need money. So be very careful also who you do follow. Oluwaseun, thanks for waiting, sir. I finally got you in here. You can go off mute, sir. Madu, I have your hands up next. I'll take you next after Oluwaseun. Oluwaseun, you've got the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Kalu. Oluwasegun is my name.
I apologize.
Yeah, it's okay. And congratulations on your book. I've told you to make it available for us at Bitcoin, and you can start using Buffett Cash. Put a QR code on there so we can buy it.
I'm not a nerd, so someone has to walk me through it. One of you guys come and walk me through how I can put it up, then I'll do it.
Well done. So also because to what you're doing in this space, may God bless you, helping people get out of poverty. However, I'll just touch upon a few points. I will start from the regulatory arguments with Heritage, then I'll go to the US dollar, and maybe round up at Warren Buffett. I won't add anything too much because I know multiple people or persons may also want to contribute. So I will just touch on the wonderful topics that you guys have been talking about. So let me start with Bitcoin. Truly, there is a current pronunciation from the US president. And of course, the IRS is really working, and the SEC working on regulating cryptocurrencies. As a matter of fact, when you buy cryptocurrency, Bitcoin on top of the food chain, it's a taxable event right now in the US. I have lived in America, New York to be precise, where all the business is, especially when it comes to stock. So I understand very well. And I also own a Bitcoin exchange here in Nigeria, and we have just launched P2P. So I understand this system very well. In 2017, I also built the cross-border remittance used by United Bank of Africa. So if you send money with UBA outside this country to any part of the world, you are most likely using my technology. It's called the UBA Diaspora Banking Application. I think it's embedded into their UBA mobile app now, but we own that trademark and we built it. So Bitcoin right now in the US, there is something called the capital gain tax. So I want everybody to go and read about that. Once you buy Bitcoin, buying that alone is a taxable event. So if you owed $1,000 Bitcoin and you gain $500 on top of it, you will pay tax on that $500 when you want to cash it out. If you don't report it, it can be an offense. However, so you're right in that to that large extent, Mr. Carl. However, what Heritage was trying to say, in other words, is it's the platform that's actually being regulated Of course, because of AML, KYC had to be in place. For people that don't know, AML is an anti-money laundering, and KYC is know your customer. You cannot directly regulate Bitcoin, but of course you can regulate the exchanges and the platform that trade it. And you know there is KYC, so once you spend it, it becomes taxable. But remember, Bitcoin is not anonymous, it is pseudonymous. So you're also right in that area. But once you don't have KYC done on any exchange, because Bitcoin is 100% decentralized, it will be very difficult for anybody on earth, no human being, no government, I'm talking from the angle of a CEO and a founder of an exchange with thousands of users. No human being can tax your Bitcoin if you hold it in a decentralized wallet and you run your node. You can go and read about that. Remember, the exchanges and the platform that holds it for you will do KYC, like our platform. So when you spend, they can report to the governing jurisdiction. If you hold it in a non-custodial wallet, then that becomes very difficult. Other cryptocurrencies are just like startups, like Ethereum, XRP, Dogecoin, like you mentioned. They are just companies, and they are not fully decentralized. I mean, CZ on Binance is following me, just like you say Warren Buffett is your uncle. I see him as my uncle, is the 13th richest man on earth. And he will not deny, as much as I respect him, he won't deny that Binance has 21 validators that determines the life of everybody that owns crypto on Binance. Okay, I'll stop at that for that angle.
Are you sure? I think we want to hear more, but yeah, I hear you. We have to. So
I don't want to hold on.
I think good points. I think very, very good points. I think you've sort of like given a good closure to the issue of with Iron Heritage. I think it's very, very good points, and I hope we all have learned from that. So go ahead, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. I host my own space too, so if you want to know more, maybe some people can follow me. You are already in my DM, so maybe you follow me in my space. You say you hear some more. I'm a Bitcoin maximalist. I'm not a fan of Forex and all of those things. Fantastic knowledge you're giving people. But what you're not telling people, my brilliant brother, is that the United States of America dollar has 9.2% inflation. And in less than 1 year, it will enter double-digit inflation like Nigeria. So it's dangerous investing in the US dollar. I repeat, 9.2% inflation on the United States of American dollar. Go and check it out. So if you invest in all these beautiful companies, all these fiat monetary network centralized companies, just remember, if it is dollar, there is 9.2% on top of your investment. Inflation. And very soon, it will cross into 10. So there will be a difference between the US dollar and African countries that have double-digit inflation. I won't talk much on that on the side. If you want to know more, follow me. Thirdly, Warren Buffett has been wrong for the past 13 years on Bitcoin. And, painstakingly, he has now invested in Nubank. Check it out. Your uncle, a Brazilian bank focused on cryptocurrency with Bitcoin on top of the food chain. He did it as a silent investment, but it got leaked. $1 billion US. So, if you want to know today, Bitcoin is the most performing asset in the world in the last 10 years. Like you said, not oil, not gold, not Apple, not Microsoft, not Tesla. Show me and I will give you 1 million naira, an asset class that has performed better than Bitcoin in the last 10 years. I repeat, if you can show me year on year an asset class on earth since the beginning of this earth, this God Almighty created universe. Any asset class that has done well, more than Bitcoin in 10 years, I will give you 1 million naira publicly. You can show me in 5 minutes now and I will send you 1 million naira worth of Bitcoin. So when people are asking for knowledge, Mr. Gabriel mentioned education. And the other man too, I think it's Tolu Berry, I don't know, I'm not sure, or somebody mentioned education is very, very important. Your space is very educational. That's why I'm coming to your space. I left another space for your space. And my beautiful daughter has been calling for her daddy. I shouldn't have stayed this long, 1 hour, but you are very, very kind and you have empathy when you communicate. That's why I stayed this long in your space. Sir, as we speak, it is most likely that in the next 8 years, Bitcoin that is $42,000 today will be about almost $1 million US. If you had invested 80 naira in Bitcoin in 2009, today you most likely would have about $44 million because it would have given you minimum of 1,000 Bitcoins. 80 naira at the exchange rate of that time. Let's say black market rate 150 naira in 2009. 150 naira today, you need $42,000 without exchange charges. Of course, they will sell to you a premium price in Nigeria. So, this investment thesis, as beautiful as it sounds, we have to tread carefully. Very soon, because I built for banks and I built for big banks, they pay big money for that. I know that they are all panicking. There is something called PAPS. You want to read it out? You want to go and read about it? Pan-African Payment Settlement Service. PAPS is like a conglomerate of banks, CBN, central banks. They are trying to cut Africa away from Western power of MasterCard, Visa, and even SWIFT. What happens when SWIFT cuts Nigeria off transactions like they did to Russia? We will be doomed. But PAPS wants to save us, because when you and I want to invest in those companies and you want to use your Naira dollar card, it first goes to Switzerland, Canada, or the US. Switch before it comes back to those companies. If you want to send money to your brother in Ghana, it goes out of the shores of Africa first. And some, like 4 people, take from it. If you understand how this underlying traditional finance, fiat money, I call it paper money can tear, paper money can burn. If you check my tweet, I train children on Bitcoin and blockchain, and I don't even know much. Paper money can tear, paper money can burn. Anything you buy in the Naira today is investment in inflation. Anything you buy in dollar today is investment in inflation. And the dollar is even going to be worse. All the money that has been printed in America, in the history of America, the most part of it was printed last year. The United States of America printed the highest part of all the money they have printed in the existence of their country. Just in 1 year. Very soon, stimulus funds will come out. Ask where those funds are going to. Are you aware of what Robinhood is about investing? There are 2 million Robinhood users waiting to buy Bitcoin. Just yesterday at the Bitcoin 2022 conference, that was announced. The Lightning Network today enhances cross-border services at the speed of light. Of course, on-chain transaction, Bitcoin can do that. Regulated investment platforms are awesome because it gives you rest of mind. I'm not trying to call anybody out, but as fantastic as this Trove, Invest, and the rest of them are, you and I want to invest in business, right? So, for example, Mr. Kalu, you put $1,000 in Bitinvest 5 years ago. I put $1,000 in Bitcoin, decentralized wallet. I run my node 5 years ago. You know what would have happened to your one? You already know. Put the permutations together. The inflation month on month in the last 5 years. You would have lost practically all of your $1,000. And I would have gained multiple percent. Bitcoin in the last 1 year, I've done about 16,000 all year round, 16,000% in growth. In 2020, when we're all locked down, I was begging people to buy Bitcoin at the rate of $7,000. Just invest $100. Even FTMB that you're working with, my friends built their systems. I'm not going to talk about it. I was talking to the biggest directors of FCMB. They don't even know what blockchain is. I've been in meetings. My friend, that the one running the E-Naira, fixing the E-Naira after BITT Inc. from Barbados, that our CBN governor went to go and do stuff that messed them up. Shout out to Emefiele and his wonderful ideas, but he's getting it wrong on this CBDC.
Oh my
Anyway,
God.
I won't talk too much.
Oh my God.
I just wanted to touch
You
on
are breaking so
Thank
many.
you very much.
You are breaking so many tables, right? We don't have any table left to sit on, right? I think, don't go anywhere. No. Heritage. Just cherry. Don't go anywhere, sir. I think it's a wonderful submission. I think you went, like you said, you've gone through a lot from BTC to the issue. And I think we are all better that you made that contribution. I applaud you for it. So I always take the other side when people speak. I always, just for the benefit of the listeners, right? So you said show you an investment that has made 16,000% in Bitcoin. But also, is there any investment that you know out there that can lose 40% in a week? Is there any investment out there that if I put my money into would lose 40% in a week? Again, I'm playing the devil's advocate.
It's okay. It's good for you to play the devil's advocate. If you check the history of gold, very well. If you go back down the drain, before it became this stable, you will know what happened to gold. However, the volatility of Bitcoin is due to many reasons. Of course, buying and selling. Capitulation also makes it very volatile. But pretty soon, when countries begin to accept the fact that for the first time in the history of our Earth, we now have a currency that cannot be censored, cannot be debased, is deflationary in nature, cannot be seized by anybody, with all the ban that China and the rest of them are doing. What has happened to Bitcoin? Nothing. It's volatile because it's pretty much a new asset class. Asset class that is also a currency. My DM is packed up. You guys should chill. You kind of have to take this course on whatever positive questions and things that you guys want to know from.
Don't mind. Don't. They've left my DMs to the DM. Don't mind. So they look at the point I'm trying to make with the volatility of Bitcoin. Like you said, right? Not during the lockdown. There's a tweet I did, right? Bitcoin was 13,000, and I was saying Bitcoin should fall so I would buy more. 13,000. That was just 2020 or so. We're talking, and from 13,000 we got to 65,000 in less than maybe 13 months. So the returns on Bitcoin is not the question. I think everybody in the world knows that if you invest in Bitcoin, you are going to make a fantastic amount of money. Not just Bitcoin, even the smaller cap. Bitcoin doesn't even make money. What if you bought Dogecoin? What if you bought Shiba Inu? You'd have been a trillionaire by now. The problem is this. It's gone from 65,000 to 33 to 47. If I was a 50-year-old man and I was going to retire in 2 years' time, and I took all my money and I put, say, 50% in Bitcoin, I would have been a billionaire, then a millionaire, then I'll be crying. And this is the problem with Bitcoin, that is just so volatile that as an investment class, it's really difficult to hold. Michael Saylor is holding billions in Bitcoin. Yes, but it's just, and that's just my view. I take no, you're completely correct on the returns, but the risks for Bitcoin, the alpha, all that, it's a lot, bro. It's a lot. Let's talk about the dollar, right? I like the point you made about the dollar inflation being 8. It's going to get worse than that. And we know that the dollar inflation right now, if you go back to the chart and you look, it spiked during COVID. When we had the last president, America actually destroyed what we call the Fisher curve, where America had low unemployment and low interest rates and low inflation. In economics, that does not happen. If your unemployment rate is low, then the inflation rate has to go up. But under the last president, it occurred that America had low unemployment, low inflation, and low interest rates because of the productivity, the job. I mean, they were going to prisons to recruit workers. But the world had this COVID thing, and it's destroyed a lot of supply chain. The inflation we see today, in my view, is driven by the COVID spending, like you've said, and also the supply chain. We cannot look at this inflation as the quote-unquote real inflation. It will moderate when we don't know. So like you said, you have to diversify. I'm all in for buying cryptocurrencies. I think everyone should have at least 10% of crypto in their portfolio because of just the return it offers. But we have to also be aware of that risk. Like I said, regulation.
Sorry for coming in.
Go ahead.
For calling you.
Go ahead.
Not cryptocurrency, because most of these cryptocurrencies are startups. Just like what Cash is a startup. You have to be careful investing in multiple cryptocurrencies. Of course, you can make quick bucks in them. I will not lie. Yes. But if you want an asset class that you can hold, like somebody advised that you invest with the money that you, not actually money, not money you want to use to take your girlfriend out or celebrate birthday next week, or money you want to use to buy Mr. Kalwa Jazz book. You now say, before I buy the book, let me quickly make something. You lose. The money you can let go, or the money you feel you want to keep for your future, at least 2.5 years, buy Bitcoin, just a little bit. Even if it is just 1,000 naira, leave it there and invest in all these other multiple things and check what happens in 2.5 or 3 years. The fiat monetary network and fiat monetary paper money businesses know this. You know, but when you get investment, nobody has invested in my company yet. We have not taken a loan yet, so I am confident to speak. None of these cats are on my cap table yet. I've not taken $1 million from nobody, and we have been running our businesses efficiently. So I can confidently say to them the truth. So this fiat monetary network system that encourages fintechs on the paper money that can tear, paper money that can burn, paper money that rats can eat, or the cockroach from your father's house and our father's house can just be on top. It's being encouraged by centralization. So I was about to tell a story. I'll round it up in a few seconds. If you put money in piggy vest, by January, you want to save for a house, or let's say from today. I'm not spoiling piggy vest business. It's a fantastic thing they are doing. Shout out to the lady co-founder and what they're doing. But if you put your money in piggy vest and you lock it up till December, let's say you want to save for a laptop, a mobile phone, house rent, a car, or a travel ticket. And say you want to save 100,000 naira or 1 million naira, any amount, just picture it in your head. By December, when Nigeria inflation is 16% today, with what is happening around the world. By December, when US inflation is 9.2%, the almighty dollar that our own Naira is backed by, the petrodollar that our own Naira is backed by. Ask yourself, what is the petrodollar backed by? Nothing. It's just being printed. Paper money can be printed.
So what's the alternative? If I don't put my money, if I have rent money. So the question is, if I have rent money, I'm going to pay my rent in 2 years, and I put it in piggy vest. You are saying I should not. What should I do?
So listen. So by December, you want to save 1 million naira, and by December you have already saved that 1 million naira, right? And you want to rent the house in January. What do you think would have happened to that house that you wanted to save because you checked the house out, and in March, in April, the house is 1 million naira. By December, January, the house would have been 1.6, 1.7 million naira. Calculate the inflation month on month. You will not be able to achieve your goal.
Yeah, so what should I do? What should I do?
One of the things you have to do first is to look at investments in nations that have much little, lower than 5% inflation, and or buy Bitcoin. But listen, if you want to rent a home, I'm not advising you to buy Bitcoin and wait till December because you want to rent a home.
I think you've just made my point.
Save that money.
That is the point. That's the point.
Don't give it to piggy birth. I'm not trying to knock their business. You can as well just put it in the bank and let them take their deductible. You cannot escape it. You and I cannot advise the best because it's an inflationary world.
Yes, I hear you.
Banks, if you know how they are designed to be inflationary in nature.
I hear you. Let me say something, right?
Designed to be inflationary.
So I hear you. But we're talking about financial literacy. So let's make sure that we let me say something, right? When you are investing, it's different from savings, right? If you are saving, all you are doing is not spending. So I earn 2 million, I take away 1 million, I have saved 1 million. When I say I want to save or invest that 1 million to earn 10% in this place, I'm investing. So there's a thought process behind where I want to put that money. If I'm in Nigeria and I want to pay for rent, so I know I'm going to pay for my rent 12 months from today, standard, and no shifting, 12 months from today I have to pay for my rent. I would not advise anybody to take that money and trade in stocks, crypto, or any investment that will not guarantee a fixed rate of return. Will it beat inflation? No, it will not beat inflation because the return will not beat inflation. But your objective is safety of capital. Your point is clear that you want to make above inflation returns. But remember, you have to first of all have principal security first if your objective is to pay that rent in 12 months. Once you are investing for long term, I agree with what you are saying. I want to make that point very clear. There is nowhere in the world with less than, say, 4% inflation. Maybe Switzerland and maybe the oil majors, right? But it's very, very difficult to find a good location you can put money in that has a lower inflation than the US. Difficult to find that has a currency that is convertible. Great points, but yeah, I agree. I think it's great knowledge for everyone to have shared in. Can you guys all hear me? Yeah, I think we're good. Let me just go back. Mr. Kosimani Oluwasegun, thank you so much for spending time away from your daughter to speak to us today. I have a few guys also here. I hope you guys can hear me. Gabriel, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. Let me just clear the table, right? Shelly, anytime you want to come back, please, you are welcome to. We would like to have you again, Oluwasegun. Thank you, Oluwasegun. Thanks so much. Thank you for all this call. I have Madu, I have Akinyemi, I have Toluberi with his hand up. I'm going to go straight to Akinyemi because it's new. So Akinyemi, thank you, sir. Akinyemi, just go off mute. It will be Akinyemi, it will be Madu, then it will be Toluberry. Heritage, I see you. I'm going to make sure I bring you back on to give your closing. Don't worry, you'll come back on. Akinyemi is just connecting. If you can, just go ahead and speak, sir. I think you were cut off. Yeah, I think Akinyemi is gone off. Mr. Madu, I have you. You can just go off mute and just speak. I will try to get Akinyemi back. Madu, then Toluberry. Madu, go for it, sir. Madu, you can go off mute and then speak. Or if you're having difficulty, I'm going to go on to Tolu. Yeah, Tolu. Okay, Madu, yeah, go for it. Madu, yeah.
Hello?
Yes, hi, I can hear you. So everyone can speak now.
Sorry, Akinyemi, can you now?
Akinyemi, I think he's dropped off, I believe. Akinyemi, are you back on? If you go back on, then you can speak now. I think he's dropped off. So if he's dropped off, let's have Madu speak, then we'll have Toluberry. I'll try and add him back on. Madu, go for it.
Thank you. So, what I want to just add is, in all that we're saying, we still need to bear in mind the risk appetite of whoever is investing. Whether it's in Bitcoin, whether in whatever asset class, we have to consider you as an individual. What is your risk level? What is your risk appetite? What level of risk can you tolerate? Because if I'm somebody that don't want to lose, let's say I have 100 naira, I can only take a loss of 5 naira, and I'm okay with that. And there's another person who can take 30 naira loss. It determines on how I invest and also how I follow people. Because when you follow people, and people are following are people that can take so much risk, and you can't take that risk, and you're investing with them when you're following without understanding the drawdown they can have within a trade. We talked about education here, so we have to know things like drawdown, and when you also mentioned the stop loss and things like that. So education is key. I'm only just also pointing at the risk, that we should also consider the risk appetite of whoever is investing, and then in choosing the asset class. Thank you.
I think that's a fantastic comment to make, that we have to invest based on our objective and risk profile. That's the point I try to make with my good friend as well. If you are investing, don't invest based on returns. Let me say it again. If you are investing, do not invest based on returns. Invest based on your objective and your risk profile. If you are a retiree and you are making your money from income, i.e., you're no longer working, you're just making your money from your investment, do not invest a substantial portion of your investment in variable income like crypto and the rest, or even stocks or commodities. Even though your income does not beat inflation, you really can't help it, because if anything goes wrong, you have no other place to turn to. So invest according to your objectives and your risk profile. That has to be said. So I have Toluberry, then we're going to do heritage. Gabriel, if you can see anybody else there, you can add them. I don't see anybody else. Once we do Toluberry, we'll do heritage and we'll wind it down. I think we're over by about 24 minutes. We're supposed to end about, say, 10 o'clock. So we'll try to just wind it down. Toluberry, you want to add anything else? And then we'll do heritage and then we'll do vote of thanks.
My question is for Oluwasegun. I hope you can hear me. I have two questions. Now, for context, I'm just going to say a little bit about myself. I'm a CPA accountant in Canada, and I'm very big on fundamentals, and I believe so much in Bitcoin and other altcoins. But my question is, now, on the assumption that Bitcoin gets to, say, 100K or 150, my question is, I believe all other altcoins will also move even exponentially than Bitcoin. So my question is, why would I say I have about $42,000 now? Why would I invest in one Bitcoin rather than some altcoins? So for my own due diligence, I believe so much in Crypto.com coin. That's my biggest investment. It's from Singapore, so I and all other fundamentals are there. And Solana. So let's say Bitcoin gets to 100. I believe there will be exponential growth in these altcoins, and I'm going to get a better ROI. So my question is, why would I choose Bitcoin right now? Because I believe Bitcoin has passed me. Why would I take Bitcoin now instead of altcoin? Now, my second question is, because I'm kind of a conservative person, the risk appetite of Bitcoin is a bit too much for me. But MicroStrategy is the third largest holder of Bitcoin. Now, let's say I have $42,000 now. Would you advise I buy? I'm in Canada, so it's 42,000. One Bitcoin is 42,000 K now. Would you advise I buy one Bitcoin or I buy 100 MicroStrategy shares? I'd like to get your perspective on that.
Mr. Oluwasegun. Mr. Oluwasegun, can you answer, please?
We can't hear you. It's like you're speaking, but we can't hear you.
Can you hear him? Can you hear him?
No, I can't hear him.
I can't hear him as well, but it looks like
Yes, I think he made Maybe decided to probably also
Heritage, you are echoing. You are echoing, Heritage.
Can I give a response to your question?
Yeah, Heritage, go ahead.
Go ahead.
That's some background to this. Go ahead, Heritage.
Yes, I think Twitter Spaces has its technical issues always. We can't shun that because it's technology and it's still at its better stage. It keeps improving. But then the question Mr. Toluberry asks to if he should invest in Bitcoin or probably other alternative coins. I think Mr. Oluwasegun referenced that in his speech. He said something about the fact that alternative coins are classified as you should just see them as companies, because most of the founders of these cryptocurrencies, have venture capitalist investment where they are like looking to make profit personally in order to like purchase a decentralized asset. So as an individual, if you are looking into investing into an asset over a long time, irrespective of the amount you have, you made mention of the fact that let's assume you have about 42 US dollars in thousands, and you want to like purchase an asset. Which should you go for? You should go for Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is actually decentralized and every other alternative coins is centralized majorly because of the innovation around it. They might have similar features with Bitcoin, like instant like payment settlements, like digital currency features. But then when you must have been hearing people talking about decentralization, you must have been hearing people talking about risk value, which you mentioned as well. If you're thinking about asset based on risk value, Bitcoin is actually an asset you should opt for, because Bitcoin itself is not volatile. Fiat currencies are volatile. So when you have one Bitcoin will forever remain one Bitcoin. That is, one Bitcoin equals to one Bitcoin, because it has units, just like US dollar has units, like $1 equals to 100 cents, 1 naira equals to 100 kobo, one Bitcoin is equals to 100 million satoshis. And when you're purchasing such assets that can be controlled, the mechanism is open source. So when you purchase such assets, when inflation keep eating on fiat currencies, that is currencies like US dollar, yen, ruble, or whatever currency in your jurisdiction, the Canadian dollar itself, when inflation keeps eating deep on those currencies, it's actually going to reflect on Bitcoin as an asset, because it's going to keep skyrocketing in nature based on the algorithm and the way it's being programmed. So that's just my explanation to that, and I think Oluwasegun is back. He can also buttress that point and make it more explanatory, because I'm actually a software developer. When I approached him, I talk about the technicality majorly, and Oluwasegun looks like is a CEO of a company, and he understands the financial market coming from a market perspective as well. So that's just my response to your question, Mr. Tolube.
Thank you very much, Kaluaja, and thank you, Toluberry, for asking a question. Twitter Spaces, once you are a speaker, I'm sure Kalu knows this, you start to have glitches. So Heritage has done justice to this. It has actually done justice to this. But I will just rub some icing on the cake. In your mind, Mr. Toluberry, you're thinking that instead of buying one Bitcoin at $42,000 today, why don't you just buy multiple XRP, multiple Ethereum, multiple Dogecoin? Because you cannot have more than one Bitcoin, and you can have multiple of those. You are buying somebody's company that can switch you off anytime, any day. Crypto.com is a company that some people sat down together and said, how much is your own? Let me look. Are you a Yoruba man? Okay, Toluberry. So they are saying, Elonitie, 100,000, 500,000, 200 million. Okay. They all have equity upon confirmation of contributions. So when you buy Crypto.com, fantastic. It's a short-term money-making opportunity for you. That is not something you should hold forever. When you buy Bitcoin, like he said, you are buying one, because for one Bitcoin, you need 100 million Satoshis. You are buying freedom for yourself. You are buying anti-censorship for yourself. When you buy Bitcoin, what you are buying is 0.8 decimals. So make sure you look at it. Don't look at the dollar rate or pound rate. Look at the decimals, right? 0.0000000. If it is not up to 8, don't buy or don't accept. It is not Bitcoin.
Why?
Because that's how Bitcoin is. It's
invisible.
Right? So I'm just telling you, and it doesn't move, right? You must understand that. What moves is the inflationary paper money that can burn, that can tear, of either Naira, cedis, dirham in Dubai, rand in South Africa, the yuan in China, the dollar in US, the Canadian dollar, the pounds. Those are the money that have inflation. That is why Iyaloja that bought Bitcoin for 80 Naira in 2009. That is why Emeka that bought Bitcoin of 300 Naira in 2010 has turned to a multi-millionaire today, because the Bitcoin value remains. But the fiat value of the country it lives, or any app you use, when you change it to the fiat value, is the one that is going up and down. The fiat value is going up and down. And that's why I said, when they want to tax you, they tax the fiat value. They tax the KYC is done by the exchange, by the platform that you buy it from. The capital gain tax applies to cryptocurrencies in general, yes. But they can always tax Crypto.com and all of those things, even Botany Cash, because we are centralized. Even my company too is centralized. But we want to innovate, just like we already have on chain. In a few weeks, we will have Lightning, and before the end of the year, my brother Swaviji, I hope he's still here, he has done, we would have innovated on-chain, Lightning, and also non-custodial wallets. So you have I would advise anybody to have a custodial wallet so that you can buy from the exchange. And once you're done buying from the exchange, you can move it to a non-custodial wallet. That way, not Buhari, not Biden, nobody on earth can tax that Bitcoin. But when you want to sell, remember, just like buying your Bitcoin is a taxable event anywhere in the world. Somebody, the exchange or wherever, whether it is OTC, which is over the counter, or it's P2P, which is person to person or peer to peer, like you have always heard, they will definitely charge you. But the government of any country that has regulated it will also tax you when you move the Bitcoin. That is when you value the 8 decimals will now be spent. It is on that spending process that you are charged, because you are spending in fiat most likely. But if you have somebody that you are spending with Bitcoin to Bitcoin, nobody can charge you. Yeah. Nobody can tax you.
Yeah,
it's just the platform that takes their own money. So you can invest in crypto.com, Ethereum, all of those things. But remember, even Ethereum guy himself was a Bitcoiner. He started Bitcoin magazine and they bought it from him. And part of the money is what he used to build Ethereum. Would I one day build a stable coin or build my own coin? It's a viable business, but just know that it's centralized. People control those money. Anything. Show me the person and let me come and talk to the person and ask you, show me your codes. What is behind your codes? Is it like Satoshi Nakamoto's 100% open source decentralized? We're not talking about the centralized open source. Go to CoinCoin and go and understand it. So
question on MicroStrategy.
Oh, what's the second question on MicroStrategy? I think I left it. Ask again.
Okay, as MicroStrategy is the third largest holder of Bitcoin. I said, if I have 42K now, should I buy 1 Bitcoin or buy 100? Because MicroStrategy is about 450. Should I buy 10 MicroStrategy shares? 100. They're both equivalent to 42K. So should I buy 100K, 100 shares worth of 100 shares of MicroStrategy or 1 Bitcoin?
Michael Saylor is my uncle, like Warren Buffett to do Kalu Aja's uncle. I love Michael Saylor. He's the poster man for Bitcoin. You need to know very well that it was Michael Saylor that mostly announced Apple to the world. As of 2019, Michael Saylor was among the people saying Bitcoin ain't shit. He didn't buy, he bought painstakingly. He started accumulating in 2020 after a rigorous minimum of 100 hours, which I will advise anybody, that is at least 4 days non-stop, back to back, to understand Bitcoin. Read 4 days non-stop, 24 hours, 24 hours, 24 hours, or you break it into 10. But the truth is, in as much as I love MicroStrategy and I love Michael Saylor, why would I want to buy Michael Saylor's shares when I can be free 100% and own Bitcoin? Why would I? When I know that what he is buying is what is making him that powerful. Why can't I go for that power myself when nobody stops me? The only pain you would go.
Oh, I think it dropped. Okay.
Sorry, a call came in. The only you will go through is the exchange or the price tag that you're buying it. And I advise people, when you want to buy Bitcoin, it's like you're buying your own property in cyberspace. You're buying your own house, a piece of land in Banana Island or in Lekki Ajah, the most expensive places in the world. If you're in America, you buy Bitcoin, it's like you're buying your own property in the city of Manhattan. You New York City, or you're buying your own property in Beverly Hills, in LA, in California. So when you buy Bitcoin, you have bought your glory to success. As long as you are holding it. But when you buy the shares of another person's company, remember, you are tied to the characteristics of the owners, the behavioral pattern of the owners. One day, MicroStrategy gets maybe get for something. Imagine what will happen to the shares of MicroStrategy. I love Michael Saylor, but I am telling you, buy Bitcoin directly. Go to any exchange. I'm not advising you or advertising my company to you. If you want to buy from me, because we are public, you can tell Kalu and say, Kalu, you know Oluwasegun. Maybe not too well, maybe it's online, but this is what I want to do. We have sold Bitcoins for multiple people. We have an ex-president on our platform. We may not be as big as the rest, but we are almost 2 years. And we have senators, we have governors who have Bitcoin on our exchange and on some other exchanges. You can buy Apple shares, Tesla shares, all of these things. Wonderful. Why didn't Tesla buy Michael Saylor's shares? It bought Bitcoin by itself. You can keep some on the exchange so that it can be spendable when you time you want to spend it, but you keep the rest. When you buy a land or a house, what are you doing? You're securing your future forever. You're not buying it so that you can sell it next tomorrow. You are buying it for your future, for your children.
I think I agree with that point.
So,
Yeah,
that's my advice.
Why go indirect? I think that's just the summary. Why go indirect when you can go direct? Elon Musk bought Bitcoin, didn't buy Michael Saylor. I think that's very, very good story to the question. I loved it. Thank you again for just answering that to us. Guys, we are well over time. People have to go sleep, right? It's Saturday night in Lagos. Just want to say thank you to everyone that has spoken. No, I have to give Heritage. I think Heritage, can we take it that you've spoken and closed? Are we good now?
Yes, Mr. Kalu has spoken. Thank you
good,
for
right?
this and thanks for doing it correctly.
Okay, great. So, Oluwasegun, thanks so much for just giving us all that knowledge. We appreciate you.
I want to say I respect you. Do not stop. Continue to do this. By this time next year, I want to see 2,000 people, 4,000 people in your space. You're a great man.
Thank you, sir.
I will not be happy with you in the next 4 weeks if you have not started accepting Bitcoin payment for your beautiful book. I haven't bought it because it's in US dollar.
We're going to do that. I'm going to just tell my geek to talk to your geek. Please just set it up for me, please. I want it there. I sent it to her, but I don't know how to use all that stuff. Just set it up. I have no problem with it. Let me just talk about the book. The book is out. It's now on Kindle, hard copy, paper copy, on Amazon, right? We're talking to two of the largest booksellers in Nigeria to make the books available in Nigeria. So you don't have to order online. You can just go to the bookstore and buy. Just give us time. It was just published on the 29th of March. So we're moving as fast as we can. The first batch is in Nigeria, but it's already sold out, i.e. the book that I printed and brought to Nigeria are already sold out. So I'm just working for the pre-orders, right? So I'm working to get it actually sent over by airmail to those bookstores so we can have it available for you guys. Let's talk about your money. You can buy it. I would appreciate you guys do that. Oluwasegun, thank you. The Heritage, Uluberry, Madu, Ifeanyi, or everyone that contributed. Obianoju, happy birthday to you. It's her birthday. Send us some love. Enjoy your day. Have fun and relax and all. Thanks, guys. We always do this every Saturday by 8 p.m. West African time. We'll talk about money, the economy, and we'll talk about finance. Let me just say this right. For the book again, I'm going to have a reading, right? I have a good friend, Toby, that reads books on Clubhouse and also on Twitter. So what we're going to do is that Toby is going to read, say, a chapter, and then on that chapter, Toby will then ask me, like, hey, what's going on with this chapter? And I'll give you guys the facts behind the figures, the scenario behind writing that chapter. We're going to do that maybe on a month, maybe the month or maybe May. We'll take 4 weeks in May and just go through the book, talk about why we wrote that chapter, why that is important for you. So you can listen in and you can ask questions, and it's all financial planning really. Those questions, I try to put them all in that book so that it's like a reference material for you. Like I said, if you want it on Kindle, on Amazon, you can get it right away. Otherwise, if you're in Nigeria, we're working to get it to you. So just please bear with us, right? So hang on for I and Toby. We're going to do that reading, and it's going to be just wonderful, right? So guys, we're going to run down the spaces. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you guys next week. I'm bringing a guy to talk real estate next week. You know, he's a big shot in real estate, both internationally and in Nigeria. I want us to learn from him. We've learned about Bitcoin, crypto. We started from budgets and we ended up in crypto. It's all good. Next week is going to be real estate. I'm bringing a guy in here. Have your questions ready. Thank you, guys. This is recorded. I will also post it on the podcast. So even if you came late, you can go back and watch it and listen to it and also learn as well. Thank you, guys. I love all of you. Thank you, Gabriel, for co-hosting in short notice. You guys stay blessed and take care of yourselves. Bye. Shutting down in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.